Is it supposed to see us? Or
don't know,
supposed to see it? Oh.
Just press that, yeah, it's on.
Cool.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Dumi,
And hi, I'm Sillo.
and welcome to another installment of Third Wheel. So, Sillo, whomst are you?
I am the guy. My name is Sillo, as I already said, and I've actually recently got married.
Woohoo!
Guess
Married,
what?
yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
So I do have a wife now.
Oh, okay. Well, some of us are engaged, and we are definitely heading there to marriage. Well, not recently engaged. It's been a couple of months. An awesome season of that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for what's to come. Yeah. So it appears we have a little box here.
Yeah, that's so odd. Where
I know,
does it
right?
come from?
I wonder what's inside. Shall we open it?
Let's open.
Yeah. It's a lot. No, it's not.
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Mm.
What does it say? What does it say? Ladies are too serious. You ask them for some time to grab a drink or coffee, and they already think you're dating. That is why, as a young man, I was taught to have options. I need to hang out with different ladies, one-on-one, to make sure who I want to marry. Pretty great and safe idea, right?
Is it now?
Is it? Well, let's discuss it.
Yeah, let's go through it, man. So before we get into our experiences in dating or asking people out on
No agenda.
no agenda coffees, let's start first by defining it. I mean, how I came to know no agenda coffees is that, you know, you would have been a guy perhaps sitting in church and you saw this one lady raising up her hand so nicely to the Lord and you're like impressed. Or perhaps you saw her there serving God so wonderfully and you're like, yeah, I want to get to know her. And you thought how to do that without creating any expectations would be to ask her out for a coffee where you might just get to know her and she'd get to know you, and perhaps that might develop into a friendship. And I guess the fear associated that made people do things that way was that, you know, we fear as guys that you ask someone out just for a coffee, nothing serious. The lady in her head might start planning the wedding. And so guys wanting to guard the lady's heart and guard his own heart would ask for this coffee date and put a bunch of disclaimers in front of the question, like, yeah, no, this doesn't really mean we are, or this is not gonna, we're just having coffee. And then that's how guys would ask people out for that. How do you define them? What do you
So I
mean?
guess it's similar in the sense that that was the backdrop behind it.
Sure.
You wanted to do something in a way that it doesn't invoke emotion, and
Sure.
you are there to protect the lady.
Sure.
So in itself, it's not a malicious thing. But I think it's quite similar to something that's been done forever. There's nothing new under the sun. And in this, it's just packaged differently. It's a different brand of something that has been happening. Those guys who used to make friend with a girl that they like, and then later on spring up on them. Hey, by the way, you know, I've always had feelings. Like, what? Dude, like, this could have come out earlier. So I don't think it's anything different. So at first, when I encountered this, I actually resonated.
Sure.
Because it was like, oh, makes sense. It's the way that it's been done. But actually, as we all know, that we are discipled in whatever way. And it doesn't always mean that it's the right way. Because again, it doesn't consider what happens to the lady in the whole process. I think my second view of it, and this is developed over a bit of time after that was taught, and it's actually cowardice. That's how I see it.
Strong.
I think it's pure cowardice. Yeah.
Tell me more. Why is it cowardly?
It's cowardly because actually you're doing something without stating your intentions. So at that point, you're concealing what you are actually doing. You're already doing the things. These things develop in a very awkward way. Soon this lady's enjoying meeting up with you once a week or whatever the case. But in all of that, you haven't actually articulated whether you want to be with her or not. What is going on in her mind? Have you even asked her what she thinks? Because at that point, you're not trying to get a...
You're just doing these casual
You're just doing these casual things, but it's benefiting you because you are probably finding out what you want to find out in the middle of it. You're probably enjoying it, but at the same time, you're leaving somebody else in the dark.
Sure.
and they don't know what your intentions are. And the issue with that, it's non-binding to you, because at that point you haven't stated anything, so you can leave anytime you want.
Sure.
So I don't think it's quite stand up to do stuff in that approach. So I do think that it's cowardice.
So your view of it is you as a guy are safe, but the lady actually isn't. So then, Silo, what has been your experience? I mean, have you been on a no agenda coffee? If not, what's been the alternative on your end?
I think I tried it with failure.
Sure.
Because then things were a bit more clearer than what I anticipated to do. So at the time I wanted to obviously keep it vague, but I was quite upfront about what I wanted to do.
Sure.
That relationship actually fizzled away, because I think what happens with that kind of thing, when you premise something with no intent or even direction of where you're going, it's bound to fail, because actually the person is not, they themselves are not clear about where they're going. You're not clear about where it is that you're wanting to take this thing, and that kind of thing just fizzles away.
Sure.
So I think that's part of my experience of that. And I don't think, so as a Christian man, I believe a man is supposed to lead.
Sure.
And what that kind of approach does, it means actually you're not leading, and you're not leading by integrity, because you're not clear about where is it that you are taking.
It's rather passive.
It's passive, very passive. And so, yeah, that's been my experience of a no gender approach. But what I've realized, so the woman that I've now married,
Hello.
I think out of the hurt and frustration of the previous relationship and the lack of intentionality in it, when we started to actually talk, I was quite clear about where I was.
Sure.
At first I was clear that I was not pursuing anyone, but actually it was casual. Actually, we were chatting casually with no, but as soon as I realized that I liked her, I was upfront about it. I like you. I actually want to see if I can if we can take this somewhere by me getting to know you first, and from there I hope that this would lead to us dating, and from there getting married. So that was quite clear. There was intentional. There was no weird coffees or weird where nobody knows where anybody is. We were quite up. So I also required from her to tell me what she feels about the situation. Like, do you think you are up for this or not? Because that's important. What she thinks and how she feels about the thing is as important as what you are feeling and thinking. Because otherwise you're stringing her along, you don't even know where she is. Some of the times you find that you call a girl out on a coffee, she's quite interested and she wants, that's why she said yes. If she wasn't, she wouldn't have said yes to you.
Sure.
What makes you think that she'd just say yes
to a random coffee?
To a random coffee. It's like there's something that she's interested in that she wants to see too. But you didn't care enough to ask, and that's what the no agenda coffee does. So that's part of my experience.
On my end, I've never asked someone on a no agenda coffee. So I grew up in a school of thought where, I think we alluded to it earlier, of you see something, you want it, you go after it, and you're very clear that's what you want. So prior to becoming a Christian, the whole basis of it was just selfish. It was, I saw a girl, I wanted that girl, I told that girl, and I got what I wanted from her. Then I became a Christian, and for me, the whole dating thing changed. It now had to have a reason. It had to be going somewhere. It had to be seeking out someone to marry, and not because I was either bored or I needed a new conquest. So I've never been a fan of the no agenda coffee. Again, because for me, the no agenda coffee basically just protects you as the guy. It protects you from having to state what's really happening in your heart, and it gives you a clear way out, an easy exit, so to say. Because I really think that the moment you isolate someone and you ask that one person out on a coffee where it's just the two of you, there's no one else there, you pretty much said
a lot without saying anything.
Yeah, it said a lot.
Yeah.
So I've never been a fan of the no agenda coffee. My approach, however, of targeting what I wanted and going after that, whereas before it had very selfish motive and selfish intention, it has now shifted to being about more than just dating for the sake of dating, but actually dating to find someone to marry. And secondly, it has incorporated asking where that person is as well. So what you touched on is quite interesting, that I think I would approach relationships before and assume automatically that the lady's always going to be fine. She will always know that she wants to be here. I'm the one who has room to decide whether or not I want to get out. But actually, on this side of faith, I have come to now ask, where is she? Does she still see this heading to marriage? Does she want to be here? Her feelings, her thoughts around the relationship are important.
They matter.
And so that's been my shift. But no agenda coffees have always been a no.
Yeah. So, and I think you have to realize just how self-defeating it is. If your agenda behind the no agenda coffee was to protect her heart, and yet you're not concerned about where her state of heart is, it's like, what is it that you are doing? Are you protecting it or are you not? You know, so you have to decide and actually take the stand. And I think one thing that I picked up from this is actually not knowing where the lady is leads to hurt, because later on, and this is the weird thing about this, is actually because the lady is the one who's being pursued, you must understand the pressure behind that. There's a pressure that says, because I made a move, somehow you have to respond. And sometimes ladies are taught that they're not allowed to say no. And sometimes what they do is that they fall into relationships that they didn't intend to be in. And if you haven't asked them what their thoughts and feelings about the thing is, later on you find them not really there. That's an experience that I had because of, again, overlooking where the person was. Later on I found out that actually she wasn't quite in this relationship as I thought she was, or as I was, and that ended up in a hurtful experience. So there's that, actually defeating the very purpose by not being clear about the agenda that you guys are stepping into this thing with.
Sure. So say you have a younger brother, maybe related or not, but he's a Christian man and he really wants to follow Jesus in all of his life. And one of that areas is relationships. And he's coming to you and asking you, Selo, I think I want to start dating and maybe there is someone. How do I approach it?
I like that. I think the first thing is I would commend him for coming to me before he makes a move. Because I think what a lot of us do, we say we want discipleship, we say we want to be accountable to other people, but we actually fail in acting on that, especially when it concerns liking someone. All of a sudden those things fall out of place. And so for someone to say, ooh, I think I like this person, for you to tell somebody else who is, I guess, further on in their walk with Jesus Christ and say, actually, could you help me navigate this? That's number one thing that I would commend to people, to keep themselves accountable as they pursue. Number two is for us to then, in that space of accountability, to evaluate the source of this liking that you have. What is it about this girl that you are liking? And number three, in you wanting to pursue this, what is your intention? Right? So once we've established those things, you have a place and a basis to act. So if your intentions are, as you have mentioned, actually, I need to know that dating is not for the sake of dating, that dating leads to marriage, that you actually know what marriage is for before you try something that you're not gonna wanna go into. So as a Christian man, you're saying, okay, if I date a woman, I wanna marry her, and I want to marry her because I understand the purpose of marriage and I understand the reality of marriage, and I want to pursue that, and then we can get into this action. That's number four. The action, this is where we cut off the no agenda situation. If you already know the intention why you want to be with this girl, state it to her, tell her what is it that you want, right? At that point, you don't know what she's thinking or where she's at, but she at least knows where you stand.
Yeah.
This is what you wanna do. You wanna date her for the purpose of, but actually you feel like you don't know her, and you'd like a moment where you guys can spend some time together, where you get to know her, so that we can gauge whether this thing can go on or not.
Sure.
And that requires input from the both of you. So if it happens that she doesn't feel the same way, you would have been a man. You would have told her how you feel, and you would have to swallow the pill of the rejection.
And she can give you a clear no.
And she can give you a clear no.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want the clear no. You're not just trying to step into a relationship so you can feel good about yourself.
That's cool.
You want to step into something that will be solid and actually will continue to enrich both of your lives and bring glory to God.
So to summarize it all, we first want to be clear with our own intentions before we even communicate them. We just want to be clear with our own intentions. What's the purpose of this thing we're trying to get into? Do we embrace that purpose? We want to count that cost. Right?
Yeah.
Get clear on our intention, and then be very clear on how we communicate that
Communicate it.
intention.
Yeah.
I think that wraps us up.
Cool.
Sure.